Welcome to another Lapis Guides Introduction to QGIS tutorial. So this is the last part of Module 4, where we've been working with satellite imagery and how do we bring it in, how do we merge it, how do we create it, a color raster of it, and the last part we're going to learn how to clip it. I'm going to show you two different ways that we can do this with what's called a layer mask and just by choosing an extent on our map. Make sure you've got your virtual raster selected. What we're going to do, we're going to go into Raster, Extraction, and we can choose one of these two options. So the first one I'm going to do is Clip Raster by Extent. What this allows me to do is to choose a region on the map that I want to clip to. All right, so I can click these, and I can select Extent on Canvas. All right, so let's say that I want this region. All right, so automatically put those coordinates in there for me. All right, and we'll run that. So now you can see that it has removed everything else, and I've got a much smaller raster to work with. Obviously, you see that the coloration is not the same as what we had where we had already edited in our large raster. So we need to come back in. We need to make sure that we set things back to the way that we wanted them. I'm going to up the saturation a bit, contrast a bit as well. All right. So that's how we can work with selecting by layer extent. Okay, the next type of clipping that we're going to do is with a mask layer. So we'll go up to Raster, Extraction, Clip Raster by Mask Layer. Make sure that you have your actual raster selected, right? Choose your mask layer, which is a shapefile, and in this case we're using the Bishkek limits shapefile. Okay. We're going to set this to a value of 0, and I'll explain why in a minute, and let's run that. Okay, great. Now, the reason why we set this to 0 is so that this background remains transparent, all right? If we wouldn't have done that, it would have created a black bounding box around it to fill in the background with black. All right, so now you've learned how to clip either with a map extent or with a layer mask, right? And these will be usable in different situations, more applicable than the other, depending on what you're trying to do. And of course, don't forget that once you've done a clip, your color scheme is going to go back to the default that it was when you created your virtual raster. You just need to make sure that you go back in and you reset your bands in the correct order, and you work with your coloring to get something that you're actually happy with. So that was it for Module 4. In parts 1, 2, 3, and 4, we learned how to access satellite imagery, we learned how to merge bands together, we learned how to create a virtual raster, and then lastly, we learned how to clip those rasters. Right, this is all going to become very important for the future modules that we do, and for work that you do in the future using your data sets from Lapis Guides apps. All right, let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, and I will see you in Module 5.